think we're looking good.
Okay, cool, man. It's great to catch back up with you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
So I want to get into Justifiably J.J. live album, so much going on. Talk to me a little bit about how this recording came about.
Well, about a year ago, almost to the week, I was traveling out west, and someone had posted something about next year being JJ centennial. So the first thing that clicked in my mind was I was going to be in Indiana in his birthday month. So I contacted the club there in Indianapolis, the Jazz Kitchen, and that place it's a great club and very well-known place. And I said, would you be interested in doing it? And they said they jumped at the chance. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. They didn't have his actual birthday available, but we did March 3rd, I think it was. And my whole thought was to make it just kind of a celebration and utilizing players from the Indianapolis area and making it like a hometown tribute. So I secured all the great players that are in the city there, my three favorite folks there, and we just scheduled the gig, and we got on the stage that day, and of course there was a really great crowd and we had a lot of fun. But right before I walked on stage, the engineer said, would you like me to record this for you? And normally when a sound engineer says that, it's just a really simple 2-track recording of the things that are mic'd, which many times you just hear the trombone and you just hear the piano, and anything that doesn't really need reinforcement you don't really hear on the recording. The drums are really weak, or the bass. But after it was over, he said, I'll send you the recording. I said, great. And then the next day I get this long list of files. He had done it a multi-track recording. And so I took one of the tunes and I sent it to the engineer that I've worked with for 30 years. And I said, what do you think? Can we work with these files? And he said, I'll do a test tape for you on spec, and let me know what you think. And I listened to it and I thought, yeah, we got something to go with here. So let's work it out. So aside from one tune where there were some glitches in the recording, was the very first tune we played, of course, everything else came out great. So, and it just turned out that all that added up to a perfect time for a CD length.
Talk to me about the players on the album.
I've known Steve Allee on piano for years. He's been in that area, Indiana, Southern Ohio, kind of central states there for decades. He's the go-to guy. Matter of fact, when I first told some of my friends here in New York that I recorded this album in Indianapolis, they said, did Steve Allee play piano? Everybody knows this guy. He's one of those unsung heroes, which there are a lot of all over the country, but the Midwest holds a lot of really great players. The next guy, the bass player, is Jeremy Allen, who a little bit younger, south of 50, but a great list of credits. He went to New England Conservatory, and he now teaches at Indiana University. And he's just a fantastic bass player, really fluid, beautiful lines, great soloist. And then for the first time ever, Sean Dobbins. I'd never played with Sean. I've heard his name many times, but he is now in the area, and he's now also teaching at Indiana University. And boy, what a talent. So, and what was interesting, which is not something you normally do on an album, we had 1 hour of rehearsal, like a couple of days before, and then we went on stage. So it was very spontaneous. But these guys are pros, and they, the little bit we had with the arrangements, they studied their parts and they were right on the money. So the fact that it was fresh in everybody's mind and that nobody knew it was going to be an album, everybody just kind of went for it. There were no holding back, no worries about how I'm going to sound, or when you get into a recording studio, those things start creeping into your mind. That this is the take. But on a live recording, it's just one take,
Yeah.
a bunch of tunes, but everybody seems to play with a little more of a, I don't want to say reckless abandon, but a little bit more less inhibited than they would if they knew the pressure of it being a recording. So I was so pleased with how it came out, as I can't not release it.
So I'm curious, based on the energy and the feeling that you had on stage with these guys, and you knew it was being recorded, but not in a robust way where you thought it was going to be an album. Did you come away from that thinking, man, if we could have captured that and put it on an album, did you even think that was going to be the case?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because it was such a memorable night and the crowd was great. And just it being in J.J. Johnson's hometown um, meant a lot. And just the general intensity and energy on stage and in the audience, it was like really simpatico, like we were feeding off the energy of the crowd, which is another thing you can't do in a recording studio.
Yeah.
So really the ebb and flow was kind of a group effort, not just us four on stage, but the people in the room as well.
So, what has the towering influence of J.J. Johnson meant to you as a trombonist, as a cat that's been around for decades, that has been all over the place and had all kinds of influences? What has his specifically done for you in shaping who you are as a musician today?
Well, as most jazz musicians, especially those of my age, uh, would tell you, they have dozens and dozens of influences, right? But as far as influences on the instrument, I can really name only like a good strong 6 to 10 folks that were influential on the way I play. But most of those folks were influenced by JJ.
Yeah.
The great thing about him was, in outside of the big band world, in small group jazz, the trombone kind of got pulled to the side as things got more modern and technically advanced. And, with an instrument that has one moving part, it's kind of hard to figure out how am I going to be able to play all this stuff. And he was the one guy that figured a way to do so. So that in itself, any modern jazz trombonist owes him a debt of gratitude. But for me personally, having listened to all his albums, along with everyone else, the one thing that I really caught from his playing was he started out kind of mimicking the bebop players of the time, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and playing those specific kind of ideas. But as he came into his own, he became more of a composer with his instrument. You're not hearing him play licks. You're not hearing him quote real specific things that those folks played. You're hearing more of him creating melodies and almost like a conversation as to how these melodies develop over the course of his solos. And me, as being a writer as well, I identified that right away and started trying to mimic that in my own playing. And that's an interesting thing, because his cadences, not just musical cadences, but just his phrases, the way he carries his phrases and things like that, it gives you an opportunity to kind of act on your influence of him, but not be stealing from him. You're just taking the concept of the way he constructs melodies, and then you can construct your own melodies and apply his concepts to them. So I think that's a great thing especially for young people, to when they're studying people, is you don't want to be a poor imitation of one of the masters. You want to take what they gave you and create your own voice. And I think JJ allowed me to do that through exploring that compositional element of his playing.
The one thing that struck me about this album during COVID, anytime I would hear a live recording, it would well up in me in a different way, just because there wasn't any live music going on. So, we've been kind of out of this pandemic, but still, I think there's something special about a live recording in any context. Did you think about that when this came out, that there was a level of this that was special because of what we lived through?
Well, when I started doing more gigs coming out of the pandemic, it was really an emotional thing to be able to engage with an audience like that. Now it's, there's ebbs and flows with the virus and everything, but overall, I've been going pretty strong for the past year, and I feel like the audiences are starting to get stronger with that as well. You're seeing more people engaging and not being as guarded. So you feel that energy when you're playing, and as much as it was great to play for people when they were all masked up and all that stuff, you can feel a little bit more of a correspondence with them when kind of you take the gloves off, so to speak. So I've really been enjoying that. And in this particular instance, once again, being in JJ's hometown, a lot of folks that knew him and people that had been listening to him for years and that hold his relationship with that city dear to their heart, it really felt fulfilling to be able to play a gig like that and have people come up and say that was really a special, made me feel special, made everybody kind of take something home with them, reminiscent of what he used to do, which is really cool.
So for everyone out there that either streams or buys this album, on a very cerebral level, what are you hoping they get from this celebration of JJ's life and this artistry you all created?
Yeah, I think it should be looked at more as a celebration, yes, but also a tribute to his artistry and his just his musical spirit. I don't think anything I play is necessarily people would hear a certain phrase and go, oh, well, there are a couple little exceptions, but people wouldn't listen to it and say, oh, wow, he's imitating J.J. Johnson. That was not my thought. My thought was to take his original arrangements, have the group play in that style, and my dedication to him was to approach it in the manner he approached music, not necessarily playing the things he played. So I think it's more about the spirit of it, and I think most people that have heard the album so far, especially trombone players, have told me that they really feel that that's the case, that I'm still playing the way I play, but you can kind of feel the spirit of JJ's music and the way in which it was performed back in the day.
So speaking of live music, you're going to hit the road. You're coming to Kansas City to the
Yes.
fabled Blue Room off 18th and Vine. Talk to me a little bit about coming to Kansas City and taking the show on the road.
Yeah, I'm doing several big CD release things. I normally throughout this part of the year, I do a lot of school appearances and clinics and things with college big bands, which I'm still doing. I have a long list of things between now and the end of the year. And which first start in October. I'll be in Ohio doing several gigs in Ohio, and then I'm returning to Indianapolis to play the same club to do a CD celebration there on October 22nd, which will be great.
Yeah.
Ohio and on Akron on October 11th, Columbus October 12th. I'll be in the Bop Stop in Cleveland on the 17th. And I'll be in Cincinnati on the 18th, and then back in Indianapolis on the 22nd. Then I'm doing something in New Orleans at the beginning of November before I move to Kansas City to do all these things. The first thing I'll be doing a college clinic at Johnson County Community College.
Okay.
On the 14th. But the whole impetus of this trip, along with this CD release thing at the Blue Note, is I'm doing something. It's a benefit for KU, sponsored by a local group called the Moon City Big Band. We're playing that on the 15th. That's going to be at the Hillcrest Covenant Church in Prairie Village, Kansas.
Yes.
And then the 16th, I'm doing an afternoon brass clinic at Austin Custom Brass in Kansas City. And then that evening at the Blue Room with some great players there as well. So it's going to be really fun to be in Kansas City. Number one, it's another jazz mecca. But I love playing at the Blue Room. It's a great club, kind of similar to where I recorded this album in that it's a great listening crowd, but everybody's not being overly careful where sometimes you want to hear a peep every once in a while. You don't want it to go without a peep. You want a little because you want to feel the energy a little bit. So I like that crowd. It's one of those places that you know they're listening and they're enjoying themselves, and you can feel that just the way the club's set up, logistically with the crowd, you can kind of see and feel their energy. So I'm really looking forward to that on the 16th. And then the next day I go to Wichita. I'm playing at Welker's Jazz Club in Wichita. So. Yeah, it's always great to be in Kansas City, but to have a string of things there, it's always, you feel like you're kind of setting up shop a little bit and able to really get the most out of it, along with some good barbecue.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
absolutely. We are too. So if anybody wants to pick up a copy of Justifiably J.J. or anything else that's going on in your world, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, there are a few places. You can go to my website, johnfedchock.com, and if you go to the, follow the links, you'll get to where all the CDs are. You can order a physical copy there. There's also links there that will take you to Amazon.com, which is selling it, and you can also go directly to Summit Records. Their website is selling the CD now, and wherever else you buy your streaming music, it's available as well. So it's on all those platforms.
Right on. John, I can't wait to see you in Kansas City. Thank you, sir, for taking a minute out for this wonderful album, and have a great tour, man.
Thanks, Joe. It was really as always, great to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care.